Thank you once again for joining us on another one of our ConnectSMART tutorial videos. In this video, we'll be discussing how to adjust the username, also known as the member ID or the assigned by filter, in order to pull in the ambient user's information or their data. So, David, what is an ambient user? An ambient user essentially is a logged in user or an authenticated user. Now, in order to do that, that user needs to fit a couple of criteria. One, it needs to be added to the managed users list, and two, the actual username that you log in with has to match the ConnectWise member ID of that user. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I'm going to log in here with just a user that I use sometimes to log into our test dashboards, and we'll do that. So for those of you who need a refresher, under the Configurations tab, you'll see a Managed Users. I believe you need admin access to add users here. We have two users added right now for testing purposes. One is David. These are both mine. The second one, D. Ortiz. Again, both mine. So the first one, this top one right here, is not my ConnectWise member ID. And if you notice, that is what I'm logged in with right now, the David right here. So let's take a look at the dashboard and see if it pulls in data while I'm logged in under David. Now, before the video, I went ahead and adjusted all the filters on our personal productivity dashboard to look at the user, the logged in user, and I'll show you how I did that. So let's go over to let's go over here to dashboards. On the dashboard browser, we'll find D. Ortiz's personal productivity dashboard. I'm just going to click into there, and notice that we're not really getting any data into this dashboard. Now, the reason we're not getting any data is, again, because this is set to pull the ambient user or the logged in user's data. Now, those two criteria, one, it needed to be into that managed users list, it needed to be added there, which it was, and two, it needed to match my ConnectWise member ID, which this does not. So we take a look here, and I'll show you the filters as to why that's trying to pull that in. So if we go into edit mode on the dashboard, and we just select one of these widgets and their filters. I'm just going to hit change filter right here so we can see. So under the username filter in this specific instance, I've gone ahead and chosen the inherit option. And instead of the familiar inherit the dashboard username, well, in this process, normally you would actually choose the dashboard filter of a single username or multiples from your drop-down list. But this is a little different in this case. We're going to choose the user username, and what that does is it says, hey, whatever the logged in user is, use that as the information to gather your data. Okay, since there is no David user in ConnectWise, it's returning exactly what it should, nothing. So there is no data. However, if we log out of our dashboard here, and we log in as D. Ortiz, oops, we're going to see a little something different here. So again, going to dashboards and our dashboard browser, we again click into D. Ortiz's personal productivity dashboard, and we're going to see something a little bit different. There it is, some data. So what it is doing now is, since I'm logged in with a user that is added to the managed users group, we did see that D. Ortiz in there, and it meets that second part of the criteria, which it does match my ConnectWise member ID. It says great, so pull in all this user's information. So all this is basically test data, of course. Nothing's going to update here. This is just random data, but it is indeed data that's coming from the database that is associated with me. So any of these open tickets are my tickets, any missing agreements, anything like that. All of this is my data. So that is basically it. As long as you meet those criteria and set the filter to inherit that user username, and again, this needs to be done per widget. So let's go back into edit mode, and before I chose that open tickets one, so let's go ahead and choose the I guess the missing agreements. We go to filter here, change filter. At the bottom, it's inheriting the user username. So we can see that needs to be done for everything. If you have any questions, please feel free to submit them to support@connectsmart.com. I do thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.